Hey everybody, how you guys doing today? It took a little while, but I finally got done the Primeval Chupacabra. And yeah, here it is. Get a little side view of it. Oh, come on, legs. There we go. There's kind of a side view of it. We get a front view real quick. And then you get another side view. And I'll show you guys more in depth in a minute. I guess a few seconds, but either way. So here's the head. Now, I was kind of conflicted with how to paint this thing, hence the reason why it took so long, among other factors. Was just the colors for one, because it was such an interesting concept, because Chupacabra, you think, oh well, just paint it green, but then I wanted to give it a little bit of primeval flair, exaggerate it a little bit, give it some different colors to help make it stand out a little bit. So I chose a little bit of yellows. Did an orange down the chest crack here. And then, I went up and kind of made it fade into a sort of a pinkish color, pinkish magenta. Some little bits of that to kind of give it just a really ugly look, make it look nice and ugly. Because, that's the way I like these types of creatures. So then we got the eyeball here. Kind of hard to see. You can see the pupil in there. God, man, the camera quality this time around is a little weird. There we go. Then you get the other eye. Kind of just used the Mod Podge and glow in the dark stuff on the eye over and over again. Like I made the eye in layers. Pretty much, I layered it over and over until it looked right. And then you got the top quills on the head here, which are different, which are nice little colors. You got a red underneath with a grayish black on the top. I figured that'd be cool because it's like for display. While these other quills aren't really used all that much for display. So I did the normal green with some reds to camouflage in with the rest of the body. And here is the body. Just kind of did in the same format, the same style. Got nice greens with reds mixed in, with some yellows on the base of the spikes here. Some of it running down into a pattern on the tip of the tail. Got the tail here, got the cloaca right there. Got the underneath here with its little bits of patterns and mixtures. And then you got the underbelly here. Let me move the leg so you can properly see it. You got all that. Nice black texturing with some yellows. And snapping the leg back into place here. Articulation wise, this beast is able to move its legs. That's weird. Don't recall seeing that beforehand. That's a little odd. I'll have to look at that after the video. It didn't do that beforehand. But a lot of this is experimentation. Doesn't seem to stand out all that bad though, so I'm not complaining. Yep. If anything, it just made it better. So the articulation wise, it can move its legs. It can move its neck. Albeit it's a little stiff. It can go up and down, swivel from side to side. Because the base for this thing was an Atrociraptor from the Mattel line, and then the arms were from a Godzilla, or it was from a 2019 Godzilla. So I put those in, and what I did, or how I did it was I took the resin. Let me see this stuff right here. I took some resin and I glued it to the little stumps of the Indo or the Trociraptor arms, because I cut off the Trociraptor arms and then made the little stumps there. So I glued that together, and it was a pain in the ass for this one because it was actually glued in place by accident. I don't know if I just said accident twice, either way. And the funny part about that was I actually had to dig it out for like a good 5-10 minutes or so. But I eventually got it. So then when I did that, this arm only goes about up to here, and then, it could swivel from that point. This arm could go all the way up without much hindrance. The wrist can move, or wait. Yeah, the wrist can technically move. Let me see here. Damn, that's some stiff shit. Maybe not the wrist. Yeah, right here around the elbow can move. So, the elbow can move. The wrist, pretty much not at this point. See the other wrist here. There we go. So, yeah, if you need the wrist to be in a different position, it could do that. And then getting back onto the sculpt here. I originally did have the Atrociraptor, the claws, the classic sickle claw of most raptors. I cut that off and replaced it with a larger toe. The reason why I did this was because, this creature is not a dinosaur. It's a therapsid. But besides that, also another reason why the arms are so oddly proportioned to the body, because this animal came from quadrupedal ancestors that lived in trees, arboreal type lifestyle its ancestors had, with this animal becoming a large ground predator. But I'll get back onto that later. You got more of the sculpt here. You got the eyelid around the eye, or either that or just kind of like how the face is. What is that called? The orbit, the eye orbit. I don't really remember. Either way, and then you got these massive jaw muscles on the side of its head, right there and right there, and they're really big, And then you come down here, and this also got very big jaw muscles. Hold on a second. Open its mouth here, coming out to very peg-like teeth, with a sort of how do you say, a growth. Not really much of a tooth. It's more of a calloused growth coming out of the jaw there, with these larger tusks protruding out of the bottom jaw. The reason why it has such a strong bite force will be explained, and why it's pretty much contradictory with most saber-toothed animals, which, again, I'll explain in a minute. But yeah, that pretty much explains the, how the mouth works and all that. Just trying to think. I think I've pretty much covered everything in terms of design. Yeah, I believe so. Alright, well, let me get this guy standing again. So, yeah, I mean, what he was entirely made out of was not a future predator, I don't know what I'm thinking. An Atrociraptor from Mattel, and then made from a NECA 2019 Godzilla, because I wasn't the biggest fan of that Godzilla. And actually, that Godzilla was used for my... Hold on a second, I'll show you. I'll show you guys in just a second. Got my original design for Godzilla here. It's funny because of how long ago this guy was made. The arms, like the body of the 2019 Godzilla was used for this one, and then the arms were used for this guy, and the gap is so big compared to when both of them were made. It's almost kind of funny. But I just it cracks me up a little bit thinking how a lot of my creatures share the same parts. Like my original Godzilla here, he's made entirely out of an iguana, a irritator for the legs, the 2019 Godzilla for the body, and then the 1968 Godzilla for the tail. So it's and then for this guy, shares the arms. I just thought it was kind of funny, how they all share the same sort of parts. But anyway, putting my Godzilla back here. So, yeah, that's pretty much what he's made out of. What inspired me in terms of colors was, mostly I just kind of made it up as I went along. I guess what did inspire some of the colors was there was a picture of a primal, Gandhi Kartatovsky's Primal. A lot of people make fan art of the show and certain creatures they'd like to see in there. And I saw one of a Chupacabra, which looked really cool. And I saw the yellow and the browns on there, and I was like, you know what? That looks really great. I'm gonna have to use some of that. So I got some of the color inspiration for that. And then for the head, I don't really remember what I thought of for the head. It was just kind of made it up as I went along. Yeah, that's pretty much how this guy was mostly made. I just kind of made it up as I went along, and then for the yellows and browns specifically, I was inspired by that primal art piece. Damn, I wish I knew who made that. I would have gave him credit. Just look up Primeval, or sorry, not Primeval, Primal art designs, like creature concepts, and you'll probably find it. It's really cool. Hell, I was even thinking about making it one day, but I don't know. Anyway, for the backstory of this thing, it's a therapsid descended from, the arboreal ancestors, pretty much, that one branch split off to become a large terrestrial predator, and, it came through an anomaly. In present day, the anomaly research team found out about it, made links to the same place, it coming out of Puerto Rico. Same reports, animals drained of blood, some drained of organs, and they managed to make a connection to the 1975 Morocco vampire, to the 1995 Chupacabra incident, and they figure out these attacks of different times were the same creature, or at least one of the same species. So they have a stakeout overnight, managed to catch a glimpse of the creature feeding on one of the men's goats. From that point, and they managed to get the size of it. It's around the same size of a man. And one of the incidents involved another anomaly opening up somewhere nearby from the future, and a future predator comes through. So the thing is, funny enough, is that the future predators, which are also found from the Permian, which is the same place this creature is from, speculated that one of the predators came through the same anomaly. And, there's two of these Chupacabras, and the one Chupacabra gets into the fight with the future predator, which the future predator quickly dispatches it, not being much of a physical match for the speed and swiftness of the future predator. But, they manage to shoot the future predator to death after it manages to kill the Chupacabra. And, so they both take both of the bodies away. An autopsy reveals from the Chupacabra that it is, in fact, a therapsid. And they know this from the DNA samples they collected from the Therasophilians. And, they managed to find out that there is another one of these beasts. And from that point on, one of the farmers describes it feeding on the prey of a cow. It manages to prey on one of his cattle, and one of the members witnesses this, and they discover how it feeds. By distending its arms, it manages to wrestle the prey into exhaustion with its large arms, not piercing any parts of the body, just simply restraining it to exhaustion. And the fangs essentially go over the neck. They go over the neck of a prey, and the creature has a very large gape to allow for such a thing to happen. So, hold on a second. I probably should get like a point of reference for this. I'll be right back. Use this goat. All right. So essentially, we got a goat here. The Chupacabra restrains the beast, puts its fangs over the neck like that. Hold on a second, see if the jaw can open up any further. Nope. Well, pretty much, the prey item slips through the saber teeth here, and it holds it in place while the spike here gouges into the neck. It makes a perfect cut right at the jugular, managing for most of the blood to spill out of the animal. So at that point, the prey item's too weak to fight back, and the chupacabra manages to get most of the blood. And if needed for dietary supplements, it will also eat the organs of its prey. One of the reasons why it evolved this sort of strategy was it's easier to get a lot of the nutrients from the prey instead of going into other predators' territories and spending more time in there. In other words, the animal started drinking blood and eating specific parts of its prey just to avoid competition with the larger predators in its ecosystems like the Gorgonopsid. And eventually, the future predators that also survived there. This also gave it an edge against them as well. So when they discovered the last future predator, when they discovered the last chupacabra feeding on the cattle of a man, and they the way I said that, it made me sound like the guy was like a cow. My bad. What I meant to say was the man's cattle. They discovered it feeding on there, and they managed to capture it with the pulse rifles they have. And they pretty much managed to send it back into its own time. As for the creature, even though it's aggressive and from the Permian, they prefer not to take the chance of messing up the past by killing one of these creatures. So they preferred it just to throw it back in its own time and managed to close up the anomaly. And, that's pretty much its backstory here. Sorry if it's a little disjointed, but you guys get the idea. It's a bipedal therapsid from the Permian. Managed to come into our times. Had a very specific feeding habit, and that's one of the reasons why it got the Morocco vampire title, as well as the name Chupacabra. And, that's pretty much it. Pretty much it on the Primeval Chupacabra. Another saber-toothed creature I've done that could be a decent reference to the beast is this guy. The aquatic Smilodon. Actually, these two kind of look good to side by side. Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. Actually, wait, I want to see how well this thing's eyes hold up. They're big and goofy looking, but I kind of like them. And then, with this guy's eyes, they're a little small. Which, I don't know, if I had to change anything about the design, I would make the eyes bigger, considering this thing is nocturnal. But, I don't know, they're decent sized enough to get the idea. Yeah, for sure. Trying to see. Well, ridge here appears to be smaller than this ridge in terms of my flaws. So, that's a shame. But either way, I did make this guy within a very short span of time in terms of sculpting. Because I was trying to get it in time of Halloween. Because my original idea wasn't going to work out. That original idea was the Chimeran Jersey Devil. But, that didn't end up working out. Because the physics with the wings. And then, I was just running out of time anyway. So I quickly started working on this guy and crafting him. And I managed to get him done and decent looking in time. And let me know if you guys think it looks decent, tell me your guys' opinions. I really want to know them. Even if you consider them rude, just write them down. I don't care. I like feedback. Both positive and negative, because then it lets me know, Either way, that's it's the Primeval Chupacabra. Finally got him done in painting. Anyways, I hope you guys have a nice day. And actually another thing, can you believe this, guys? It's snowing. It's snowing outside. Hold on. Look at that. It's all snowy and shit outside already. And I was thinking, from my past experience, usually last year it took a while to get snowing, but this year Came pretty quick. I thought, I don't know how long it will last. Man, I probably should take advantage of it. Take some pictures or something. I want to do one of the Wendigo that I made. Yeah, some Wendigo photos. Either way, I hope you guys have a wonderful day.